From our studio in Madison, New Jersey, this is Real Good News. This is Real Good News. With Lisa Allen, Tommy Nonnenmaker, Diane Kirsch, and Alan Swanson. Welcome to Real Good News. Lisa Allen is off this week. I'm Diane Kirsch, and here are tonight's top stories. A major historical revelation that has just been uncovered in Madison. New research has confirmed that the Heller Building contains the reconstructed frame of Madison's original Presbyterian meeting house, first built between 1741 and 1751, and what is now Hillside Cemetery. Historical records indicate that in 1825, the original meeting house was carefully dismantled by workers constructing a new church across the street. But rather than being lost, researchers now confirm that the materials were meticulously rebuilt within the Heller Building, preserving a crucial piece of Madison's past in plain sight. Investigators say the frame inside the Heller Building is identical to the size to the original meeting house. The beams show clear evidence of 18th century craftsmanship, including hand-hewn timbers with axe and adze marks and traditional mortise and tenon joints fastened with wooden pegs. Even more compelling, several support beams display markings from their original use, with visible notches and peg holes repurposed to fit the new structure. It is a direct link to the town's earliest days, hidden in plain sight for nearly 2 centuries. And this piece of history was nearly lost. Without the generosity of Mr. Heller, the building would have been demolished. His donation not only saved a structure, but preserved a vital chapter of Madison's history. Additional findings will be revealed in an upcoming documentary, which aims to shed new light on Madison's remarkable hidden past. A show of unity and cultural appreciation is set to take place in Mount Olive. The Islamic Society of North Jersey is hosting a special Ramadan celebration on Thursday, February 27, 2025 at 6 p.m. on the front lawn of the Mount Olive Municipal Building. The event will be an opportunity for residents to come together, learn about the traditions of Ramadan, and experience a sense of community. Following the outdoor festivities, guests will be welcomed into the Senior Center for light refreshments and sweet treats. Officials encourage residents of all backgrounds to attend the inclusive celebration, emphasizing that the spirit of Ramadan is one of reflection, generosity, and togetherness. Morris County is once again investing in outdoor recreation, marking the 10th year of the Recreational Trail Construction Grant Program. More than $1 million will be allocated to municipalities and nonprofits to enhance existing trails and create new ones, encouraging more residents to explore the great outdoors. Since the pandemic, local trails have seen record-breaking usage as more people seek fresh air and outdoor activity. To assist applicants in securing funding, officials will host an informational workshop on February 19th at Morris County Park Commission Cultural Center. County leaders emphasize that this initiative isn't just about recreation. It's about ensuring that these green spaces remain accessible and well-maintained for future generations. A gathering of business and community leaders took place this week as the Morris County Chamber of Commerce celebrated its annual meeting at the Hanover Marriott in Whippany. More than 500 attendees came together to discuss economic development, public-private partnerships, and the future of Morris County's business landscape. During the event, Commissioner Director Tafin Sellen delivered the annual State of the County address, highlighting growth, new initiatives, and plans for expansion. Sellen reaffirmed the county's commitment to fostering a thriving business community, emphasizing that economic prosperity is built through collaboration between public and private sectors. Ensuring our nation's heroes receive the benefits they deserve was the focus of a recent Veterans Services Information Session organized by the Morris County Veterans Services Office. Nearly 100 veterans and their families attended the event, where they received guidance on health care, financial assistance, and local support programs. Representatives from multiple agencies were present to assist veterans in navigating the often complex system of benefits. For many in attendance, this was not just an opportunity for information, but a moment of connection, reinforcing the community's commitment to standing by its service members. At Real Good News, we take a moment to honor our veterans. Their sacrifices should never go unrecognized, and their needs should always remain a priority. Here at Mortenveld Productions, we stand by our commitment to those who served, because a community that honors its heroes is a community that stands strong together. February is officially Black History Month in Morris County, following a proclamation by the Board of County Commissioners. The month serves as a time to reflect on the rich contributions of Black Americans, both locally and nationally, and to recognize their profound impact on history, culture, and progress. Morris County residents are encouraged to take part in events, exhibits, and discussions that highlight African American achievements. Some key upcoming events include February 17th at 8 a.m., I Am College Bound College Fair and Youth Summit at Rutgers University Paul Robeson Cultural Center. February 18th at 6 p.m., James Dixon Carr lecturing at Rutgers University. And February 26th at 12 p.m., African Americans and Labor Seminar with Petal Robertson at Union College. Additionally, the Commissioner's Gallery at the Union County Administration Building in Elizabeth will feature artwork from local Black artists throughout February. The gallery opens weekdays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and showcases works from celebrated artists including Mansa Musa, Brian Branch Price, and Lydia Watson. Local officials stress that Black History Month is not about reflecting on the past, but also about fostering inclusivity and building a more united future. And now, a special remote segment from Tommy.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Tommy Nonamaker from Real Good News, and I'm joined today by my good friend Molly Mackenzie, a Morris County-based student director studying at Pace University. How's it going, Molly?
I am wonderful. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Thanks for coming. Thanks for being on the show. So, straight off the bat, you're a director, student director that I've worked with before, a wonderfully talented director. You're studying at Pace University. So I'm wondering, and for our audience, what's it like being a director? Like, what's the workload like? What's the student life versus extra life? How do you fit work schedule into your student schedule? What's all that life like, balancing that, studying something that you want to do as a career at the same time?
It can be complicated, but it's super fun. I'd say a lot of directing depends where you're doing it and who you're doing it with. And obviously, part of the good thing about directing is you have a little bit more say in who you're surrounding yourself with when you're doing those kind of projects.
Right.
But not always. Even if every experience is a good experience, I feel like I've had mostly good experiences, you need to learn how to tackle the new challenges that will come with directing within a different group. So I'm about to assistant direct at Pace, their main stage musical production. I've directed a company that I've helped found. So there are lots of different things that come with everything. But I think part of the good thing that comes with even having a super heavy workload is that at least being a directing student in school, I feel like I get to take all the schoolwork that I'm doing and apply it later on in the day. So it make it crazy, but I think everything loops back together in a way that works.
Oh, that's so cool. Can you talk more about us for the for the company that you are part of? Was that the town you said that you're running? And like, what's that like, going after school, working with your friends, like a completely student-led directing company?
Yeah. So my friends and I have founded a theater company called Town. We're all students from Pace, but the company is not affiliated with the school at all. We rent out our own spaces all throughout New York and Manhattan, Brooklyn, wherever, and we put on our own shows, which is super fun and exciting. And we have students who are our friends from Pace. We have students who are our friends from elsewhere throughout the city, and it is a lot of fun. I have had the pleasure to assistant direct a production of Rocky Horror last year. I stage managed a play festival last spring, and then in the fall, I got to direct on my own our shadow cast of Rocky Horror, and then coming up, I'm going to be directing a new play called She Said about the Beatles, which I'm super excited about. So there's always something new and exciting.
Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So you're talking a lot about being from the city, being in the city. We know that Pace University is located downtown in Manhattan. So how does that affect being a student director when you're in the midst of the greatest city in the world for the arts, for theater? How does that inspire you? How does that shape the way you learn and grow? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, being in the city is awesome, definitely because of the reasons you would expect, like having exposure to Broadway shows and all of the big things in the industry, but it's also awesome because there's theater everywhere. Like there are small theaters and other artists everywhere. So you're always going to be able to discover something new, and that's super exciting. And also you kind of feel like all of the theater makers in the city also know everyone. So I have a lot of people auditioning for my play right now that I don't know, but then I'll look them up. I'm like, oh, they did a show with this person, this person, this person. We're all linked together. And so it's super cool to feel, even in such a massive city, so many connections within the industry.
Oh, totally. And can you talk a bit about how that maybe seeing shows, or I don't know, having people come to your shows, how that inspires you, how that changes your artistic vision on the work that you put out? Is that
sure?
Or I don't know.
Yeah, I love seeing shows. I love going to Broadway shows and off-Broadway shows and off-Broadway shows and weird things in basements. Like it is so fun to see the most different theater in the world. And even if I see something I don't love, I feel like I can always get something out of it. And most things I do like. I like to be critical, but overall, having theater is going to be fun no matter what, even if it's not the best thing in the world. So, yeah, I love it. Seize the opportunity and see as much theater as you can, even if you don't think you're going to like it.
Oh, that's awesome. So just anecdotally, I'm just curious, like you said, theater in basements. Can you talk a little bit about like your experience with the idea of theater can be anywhere? Like how, like, I don't know, maybe what's like the coolest place you've seen a play or a production, or I don't know, something like that.
Certainly. I saw a production performed by the New York Neo-Futurists, which is a devised theater group in the city. I forget what the venue was exactly, but I can look it up. It was super cool. It was their play called The Infinite Wrench, and it was in like this cool little basement venue, and like I didn't even have a real chair. I was like standing on the side and watching it, and it was just like super cool. Like all of the scenes were out of order, and they had numbers all strung up like on the ceiling, and then the audience would yell out a number and they would pull one down and then do whatever that scene was.
Oh my gosh.
And then they'd have to try and finish the show all within a set amount of time, and like we're making soup at the same time. Like, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. It was so fun.
That is so exciting and fun. Yeah, and I don't know, like you said, you're a director, you've worked all across the city. How does thinking about where can I put my next show, where can I direct, does that affect your vision? Like, where can I do this? You know, it's hard especially as a student director, to think about the stages and the accessibility and the big versus the small and the mediums of theater and where we can put this out. So how do you go about that as a producer, as a creator, and trying to put this out there to a greater audience, but also within the limitations of being a student? Like, where do you typically try to look for venues and spaces to perform?
So being a student director, and especially starting in a company where we're completely nonprofit, having to really fund everything on our own, you do have to keep an open mind, but that can be even more exciting because it can be fun to perform stuff in like grungy kind of venues. Like when we did Rocky Horror, most recently, we did it at this place called Under St. Mark's, which is this really cool little basement black box, which was really fun. Like it was my first choice venue, and we had other options, and I was like, no, like I want this one so bad.
Yeah.
This to me is the show. This venue
Oh, yeah.
is the show. Like you need to do it there. So yeah, but keep an open mind and think about how an unconventional kind of space can work for you. That's what I have to say.
Totally. And I mean, I saw Rocky, obviously, and I loved it. And I thought the space was perfect in the basement of that. Was it St. Mark's Church?
Yeah, Under St. Mark's.
Oh my gosh. That was absolutely perfect for the show, too.
Thank you.
Such a blast. So I want to ask, you're from Morris County, you're from Chatham, New Jersey, you come from Chatham High School, and you performed there, you acted, you maybe directed a little bit there. How do you kind of stay in touch with your roots, being from New York, and going back to Jersey and keeping up with people you worked with? And how does that affect you as a student director in New York, transitioning from New Jersey?
I'd say it's not hard because I grew up with parents that worked in the city when I was little. And so they were very familiar with New York, and my dad was from New York originally. So like I was super used to being brought into the city by my parents all the time. So adjusting, although yes, the city is a huge difference, I knew what I was getting myself into. It wasn't that crazy.
Right.
And I'm thankful that I am super close to home, and New Jersey does have a wonderful theater scene as well that I get to be involved with when I'm not in school. So yeah, I think it's a great best of both worlds situation.
Oh, awesome. And can you talk a little bit about other venues you performed in New Jersey? You've worked with theaters in New Jersey that you could talk about that maybe some of our viewers might want to check out over the summer or coming up or anything like that?
Yes, I will always advocate for the Shakespeare Theater of New Jersey. I've done a bunch there. I have been an ASM, an assistant stage manager. I've been a deckhand. I've even performed in one of their shows. And it's super fun, and they have a super exciting season coming up. They're located in Madison, New Jersey, so super duper close to us, and they put on awesome shows, and not only Shakespeare. So I've loved working there so much. I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And can you talk a little bit about being like, would you say a deckhand and an ASM, assistant stage manager? What's the process of that like?
Yeah, it's super fun, and I didn't know really that I was interested in stage managing because I had been interested in acting and directing for a little while. And then I stage managed my first show my freshman year of college. And just because it was like a small student work, so it didn't really matter if I had experience or not. But then I was like, wait, I like this a lot. Like I want to do this for real. So then I applied at the Shakespeare Theater of New Jersey, and it's really fun. I like, as one of my friends described, like being an assistant stage manager or just being backstage is like, it feels like being in the trenches. Like you have to be ready at every second to handle any problem that comes across. Like you're really making the entire show run. Like you are ready to open a curtain, or you're ready to hand off a prop, or you're ready to fix something or turn on a light. Like you're really on it, and you have your whole spreadsheet that has what you're doing every single minute of the show. So you can't miss a thing. And
Yeah, that's awesome.
So exciting, and I love it.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, totally. So I know we talked a little bit about future projects. She said. Any goals? I guess, I mean, you're a junior now, or no, a sophomore directing major at Pace, right?
Yes.
So any goals for the next couple of years maybe, or any goals looking a little bit past college? Or if we don't want to talk about that, I don't know. Like I know as an actor and a director and a performer, it's always changing, and thinking about the future is just like, why would I do that? But I don't know. Anything you want to add you might be looking forward to?
Yeah, I think as far as like in general future, kind of I have to see where I end up based on what I'm doing now. That's the thing with theater, which is kind of fun. Is like you jump job to job. So I can't really plan everything that much in advance. But I would say one of my big goals is I do want the chance to direct like a full musical, because I've done a few plays and I haven't gotten to direct a musical. Rocky is fun, but like they're lip syncing, so it's a little different. And yeah, I'm about to assistant direct Oklahoma, so that will get my foot in the door a little bit, hopefully, and see what I'm gearing up to do. I know in my directing class, we have a project right now where everyone's supposed to direct a scene from a play, and I begged to do a song, and you have to let me. Like I need to get ready to do these musicals. So yeah, that's what I really love, and that's what I hope I get to do in the future is more musical theater.
Okay. Well, that's so awesome. Molly, you are a superstar. You're mega talented. Before we wrap up, I'm just curious, is there anything that the viewers might be able to follow you on Instagram if you want to share that, or any projects you might want to keep them updated on, or Instagram or a handle, anything you want to plug? Or if not, that's totally okay too. No worries at all.
Yeah, you can follow my personal Instagram, which is Molly_Bell3, or if you want to follow my theater company, that is town with 2 N's .nyc. So check it out for all the more theater stuff that we're doing soon.
Let's go. And you guys totally should. She is unbelievably talented. Molly, thank you so much for being with us today. We all learned so much from you, and thank you so much. And we wish you the best of luck with all projects coming up.
Thank you so much. It is always a pleasure, Tommy.
We live in an age where people obtain their news and information from more sources than could ever be imagined. Much of the information swirling around us on all forms of media is not verified by those who run the platforms. The result? We are drowning in fake news, alternative facts, gaslighting, propaganda, false claims, and more. The bottom line is we have facts, we have disinformation, and we have misinformation. Let's look at disinformation and misinformation. Disinformation is the intentional use of information to deceive people into believing things that are not true, usually for negative reasons. Disinformation is created to deceive and manipulate outcomes. Misinformation can be any kind of incorrect information that people share. It may or may not have bad intent. It can even be someone passing on disinformation that they did not adequately check out. Let me give you one example. I was at a government meeting where the leader of the meeting made a rather remarkable statement. I noted the statement and sent more than one request for an explanation of where the statement originated. When I received the response, the elected government official said they saw it on Instagram. I asked for the reference, and the response was they couldn't remember when they saw it. My research could not verify that the information was correct, but still, that statement was quoted in the local newspaper. Here's a question. We know lots of people create disinformation, but why do so many people believe the disinformation and misinformation they hear or read or see? Much has to do with confirming things we already believe based on our own biases. If I believe a person in an important position will always tell the truth, it is unlikely I will check to see if that person said something that was not true. People want to have their beliefs confirmed, so they tend not to fact-check information when it confirms their biases. Another example is wanting to belong. If the group we belong to believes something that is not true, we tend not to question because we don't want to be negative, or we don't want to be ostracized by the group. The degree to which we accept whatever is said by a person or a group we trust can be extreme and lead to huge expansion of disinformation. I could provide more examples, but it's better for us to look at what we can do to avoid believing disinformation or misinformation and passing it on to others. First, educate yourself. Understand what disinformation is and how it spreads. You're doing that right now. Verify. Before believing or sharing information, check its source and credibility. Do some fact-checking. Use multiple sources and outlets for your news. Think critically. Be skeptical. If a claim seems sensational or fantastic, it very well could be disinformation or misinformation. Check the dates. Make sure you are not looking at information that has already been debunked. Know who you can trust. This is a hard one, and beyond what I can cover in these few minutes. Finally, be aware of your own biases and don't allow them to permit you to ignore the other suggestions that I'm talking about. The fact is, we are surrounded with disinformation, and the technology advances we are making are only making it harder to fact check that information. I hope the few points that I've brought up to you tonight will help you to identify misinformation and disinformation. I'm Alan Swanson. Thank you for listening.
And that concludes this edition of Real Good News. I'm Diane Kirsch, and we will return with another episode of Real Good News on February 23rd. The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the presenters and contributors. While we support a diversity of perspectives, they may not reflect the views of the entire team. We encourage open dialogue and welcome differing viewpoints. Real Good News is produced by Mortenveld Productions. For Real Good News, I'm Diane Kirsch.